Good afternoon. I'm Paula Akana. We are breaking into our programming right now with the latest coming into the KITV4 newsroom. Judge Karen Ahn has resumed in the courtroom in the Christopher Deedy murder trial. We're expecting the jury to be in there any moment. Of course, Christopher Deedy shot and killed Colin Elderts in 2011 at the Waikiki McDonald's. He is charged with a murder in the second degree. This is his second trial. That first trial ended in a hung jury just about a year ago. And it started back up in July, this time with added charges. Instead of just second-degree murder, the jury was also available to look at first and second-degree assault, manslaughter, and reckless assault. Now, this morning at about 11 o'clock, the jury came back, told the judge that they could not reach a verdict. So she polled each and every one of the jury members and asked them if they needed more time to deliberate. 4 of the jury members said no. 8 said yes. So she sent the jury back to deliberations. I think we're going to listen in right now to the news, to the court.
It says that the jury is hung on certain offenses. And I would ask our foreperson if any further time would assist the jury in reaching unanimous verdicts as to those offenses.
No.
All right. Thank you. You may have a seat. Now, the response to the form that I've attached to communication number 9 says that we, the jury, have reached a unanimous verdict to murder in the second degree. Is that true?
Yes.
And the verdict is not guilty. Is that true?
Yes.
All right. I'm going to poll the jury just to make sure that you agree that the final decision of the jury with regard to the charge of murder in the first degree, you can have murder in the second degree, is not guilty as of the conclusions of your deliberations. All right. If you agree with what I have read out of this communication form, answer yes when your chair number is called. Answer no if you disagree with it.
Chair 1? Chair 1?
Yes.
Chair 2?
Yes.
Chair 3?
Yes.
Chair 4?
Yes.
Chair 5?
Yes.
Chair 6?
Yes.
Chair 7? Chair 8?
Yes.
Chair 9?
Yes.
Chair 10?
Yes.
Chair 11?
Yes.
Chair 12?
Yes.
All right. Then the verdict as to the charge itself is unanimous. The jury has also, the communication also represents that the jury is hung on all of the other offenses to count 1, and that would be reckless manslaughter, assault in the first degree, and assault in the second degree. If you agree with this representation in communication number 9, what the court has recited, answer yes when your chair number is called. Answer no if you disagree.
Chair 1?
Yes.
Chair 2? Chair 3?
Yes.
Chair 4?
Yes.
Chair 5?
Yes.
Chair 6?
Yes.
Chair 7?
Yes.
Chair 8?
Yes.
Chair 9?
Yes.
Chair 10?
Yes.
Chair 11?
Yes.
Chair 12?
Yes.
All right, then the jury is unanimous that they are hung on all of the other offenses. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you. You have given us a lot of your time, and this is, you know, we really, I think everybody in the courtroom appreciates the work that you put into this, and the time, and the sacrifice. So I want to thank you very much, and I'm going to excuse you into the jury room. I'd like to go in there just to chit-chat a little bit to thank you. All right? You are excused.
All rise for the jury.
Our jury has left the courtroom. The counsel and defendant remain here. I'm going to find the defendant not guilty of murder in the second degree in count 1. The case law seems to make clear that he can be retried. And I know there are other motions that may be filed, but he is retriable under the Double Jeopardy Clause for the offenses on which the jury was hung. So I'd like to set up a status conference, maybe how long to get things organized? And maybe 3 weeks, 4 weeks?
I would ask for a little sooner, in 2 weeks, or whatever, just so we can.
Why don't we set it for August 29th then? August 29th?
That's
Just the
fine.
status.
That's fine.
Defendant does not have to be here. It's just the lawyers and myself to discuss procedurally what happened.
We have 8:15 to 8:30. You drove.
Why don't we make it lunchtime, folks?
That's fine, Your
Is that
Honor.
okay?
Whatever.
12:30?
It's fine.
All right.
Couple other things, Your Honor. Bail status, and we're asking obviously that he continue on his
It
bail
remains the
status.
same,
Yeah.
unless the state has something that wants to come up.
No, Your Honor.
And then secondly, Your Honor, with the court's permission, we'd also like to, well, the attorneys, at least myself and Ms. Chang, would like to speak to the jury, simply to thank them and perhaps answer any questions they may have. And
I'll ask them whether they're willing to do so, and it probably should be with the state, if the state wants to be there. It's up to you. I'm going in to talk to them. I'm going to do the following. I'm going to thank them. I am going to tell them that if anyone bothers them, they are to call the police right away and make a report. And if anyone calls who may want to talk with them about what happened, they are free to refuse, and they can discuss the matter if they wish. It's up to them, but I want them to know that they can decline. That's fine. All right? And I hope they have no further questions.
the attorneys can wait in the courtroom.
You can wait. I'll ask them whether they're willing to talk with the lawyers from both sides.
Understood.
That's again up to them. Okay?
Thank you, Your Honor.
Fair enough? All right. Thank you. And we'll file all of the communications as part of the record. Okay? Thank you.
So there you have it, the verdict in the Christopher Deedy trial. Christopher Deedy found not guilty of second-degree murder. That was a unanimous decision by the jury. The jury could not come to a conclusion or a decision in the counts of reckless manslaughter, assault in the first degree, or assault in the second degree. A hung jury on those offenses. Now, the judge found him not guilty of murder in the second degree, but did say that Christopher Deedy can be retried on those other offenses that the jury could not reach a verdict on. That's the reckless manslaughter, assault in the first degree, and assault in the second degree. They'll be meeting in the next 2 weeks to kind of have a status report, and there will be an indication at that time of perhaps whether the government will want to retry Christopher Deedy on those charges. And Judge Ahn also will be talking to the jury, saying that if anyone bothers them about anything regarding this, they are to call police and make a report, and they can refuse to speak to anyone about this. Of course, this has been almost a year since that original trial that was found in a hung jury. Almost a year to the date that the jury has found them not guilty of second-degree murder.